day 37, and may the force be with us while we try to implement this program. So I haven't asked for this in a loop or anything, so I'm going to take the opportunity to avoid that. And I'm going to ask for the first name. Actually, John, let's put a title on this program. And I'm going to take the last name. I'm also going to take in the maiden name and the city where you were born. Okay, now let's start tidying this up. The first thing we need to do really is make sure each of them have been stripped. So I'll add that to all of them. Get rid of all the spaces from either side from anybody typing in too many spaces. I'm then actually going to make everything... Actually, I'm not going to worry about everything being lowercase at this point. We're just going to do the strip to make sure there's no spaces. So, let's build the name up. So the name is going to be composed, and let's use F strings for this. It's going to be the first name, but only the first 3 letters. So that should give us the first 3 letters of the first name. And we can test this out just by printing it out at the end there, just to check what's going on. So I'm just going to go boop, 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 boop for a minute, and that has chopped out the first 3 letters of my name. We're then probably a good idea to capitalize that, and you'll see that I can just capitalize immediately after the square brackets because that's just chopping out the letters, so that entire thing is a string. I can just capitalize that. I'm then going to go in straight away afterwards, and I'm going to bring in the first 2 letters of my last name. And you'll notice that I'm leaving the first argument blank in the square brackets because that means it'll start at the default, which is the beginning. I'm not going to capitalize this. I'm going to lowercase this because what I want to happen, of course, is that name to look like a name. So the first letter will be a capital and the rest of it will be lowercase. Okay, let's put a little space in there then because we now want to put the second name in. So the surname is composed of the first 2 letters of the maiden name. So I'll do maiden, :2, first 2 letters. And in this case, we're going to do capitalize again because we want that first letter to be capital. And that's going to be combined with the last 2 letters of the city. Now, this is the tricky one because we want to just grab the last 2 letters. So I'm going to try that, which I think might be right. Do you know what I'm actually going to do? Instead of running that as is, I'm just going to print that out here to see if I can get that right. Going backwards from 2. So I'm just going to go like blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to put Cardiff. So I'm getting a crash here. String object has no function capitalize, which is a bit strange because we know capitalize is a thing. But do you know what? We'll just title it for now. And try again. Blah, blah, blah. Cardiff. And I'm getting the last 2, so I need to do -3 because I want the last 3 letters. So that's looking all right there. And I want to do that lowercase again, just in case there's any weird case options. And I'm going to F-string my printouts. I'm just going to say, your Star Wars name is... And I'm going to add in the name. So let's try this bad boy. Okay, so I'm David Morgan. My mother's maiden name was Jones, and I was born in Cardiff. So I'm Davmo Joyf, which does sound quite Star Warsy, doesn't it? Now, there was one extra credit question here, which was, how do we split those things up into just being asked in one question? Well, you could do that in this way. So instead of asking for all 4, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to do just paste this. I'm just going to say enter your first name, your last name, your mum's maiden name, and the city you were born in. So assuming my user types that in and puts spaces between them, I can do split to split them into individual rows of an array. So if we think about that, what that means is that I've got something like this. Row 0 is going to be the name. Sorry, the first name. So why don't I just do that here? So first name is going to be all 0. And I'm going to do, of course, strip, just to get rid of any spaces. Last is going to be all 1. And strip it again. Maiden is going to be all 2. And again, strip it, just to get rid of any random spaces. And finally, city is going to be all 3. Let's see if this one works. Okay, David, Morgan, Jones, Cardiff. And it worked, because what it did is that split function takes a string and separates the words based on spaces. So we've ended up with a small list where each row of the list is a different word from that original string, which is a pretty cool way of doing it, but also it can break quite easily. Let's say that I don't put all the arguments in. I crashed it straight away. So the original way, the simpler way, is probably better for a program's robustness, but this is quite cool.